There are some formatting issues I could talk about. Let me run with this one a little bit more, and then I'll try and remember to switch over to that. Otherwise, hit me and I will. What ebooks right now have trouble with is integrating tables and charts, because the data, they don't know how to make it reflow for smaller or larger sizes. What you have to do, to answer your question, what you have to do if you have lots of data and chart as part of your data and charts as part of your book, you want to publish it as what's called a PDF file, and it essentially takes a picture of a page of your book, which the reader then, if they want to zoom in on it to see it closer, then they'll have to scroll around back and forth to see the edges there. PDFs, a lot of people abbreviate that as pretty dumb file, because it's just a picture of your document. You can't change the way that the text is. Okay. Both Smashwords and Kindle Direct Publishing for the ebooks have those style guides that, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name in the back that you mentioned that there was a something press publishing.com site. Yes. Laura mentioned as well style guides. Maybe it's to our benefit to have some of us read each one and pull the information that we learn from there. Let's create a group or something on our website to say what are the strong points that we took away from each of those style guides and how can we make them work for us. All right, what I know about royalties are that if you publish with HarperCollins or something, you're going to see 10% of the retail price of your book as your royalty. So if I publish my Calipari with them, I land a contract, and they sell my book for $25, I'm going to see $2.50 of that. Okay. If I sell my trade paperback with Amazon.com, I market it through them and they print it on demand, I will see $2.12 out of a $9.99 sale. So I'll see a little more than 20% for my royalty on a trade paperback. For my 200-page 6x9 book that I can purchase a proof copy of for $3.85 and then turn around and sell it at my book signings for $9.99, I make a $6.14 profit instead of $2.12. You with me so far? Now, I don't want that crate of books left over in my basement, so I have to be very cautious about how many I order at my proof copy price. That will be a different and difficult decision for each one of us to know at that point. But that can affect your sales process and what money you see in your bank account afterward. Royalties with ebooks, when you sell your ebook, and I'm going to price mine, right now in my head, I have $2.99 as my ebook price. Oh, that's really cheap. And I say, well, you could buy it $2.99, right? That doesn't cost you much, even if it's lousy. You know, $2.99, you don't have a major investment in this book where it's $25. You probably wanted to read the first chapter beforehand. Well, guess what? With an ebook, they do promote that. You can read the first chapter before you buy it, even. And if your first chapter drags them in, you've got a sale there. If you can get them to review your book or tell friends, then I forget what they call that when one person tells two people and each of them tells two people, you've got a blockbuster on your hands overnight. Now, will any of us create blockbusters? Absolutely.
Now, on an e-reader, can you check and see how many of your books are getting published? I guess there a site or something?
You're going to be able, if you're of that mind, you'll be able to check the sales through Smashwords.com. That's a statistic-based site that you can check at any point. If they're selling it through those aggregator sites like BNN.com or Diesel.com, they update the information they get from them, I think it's quarterly. So you'd be able to track number of sales and royalties there, but it would have a time delay. Amazon, I believe you can see real time, or pretty, 10, 15 seconds, real time, what I would call. Royalties for your ebook sales. I put Calipari up at $2.99 and someone buys it. I see 70% of my royalty. $2.09, something like this. Wow! That's as good as if I had HarperCollins on my $25 book. That's almost the same amount in royalty. But the onus for the marketing falls on me and my network, which is part of what makes this group so exciting. Because when we create a website that has all of our books there and we channel people to see them, not only are we hoping to promote sales of our own books, but we could get people interested in all of our books. So we're sharing our network there, boosting our overall sales, and having a good time. Even if just people in York County bought our book, that's what, how many people? I haven't checked census lately. 500,000? I could do with 500,000 times $2.09.
I have a friend from college who wrote a book on her family's block ice business in Jackson, Mississippi. And several years ago, she told me that she had written this book and she was going to do a book tour. And she had scheduled places that she had contacts within the ice industry to do that. But then said, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. And I thought I would, where could I stop and do a presentation? I said, well, I'm on the farm market team in our neighborhood in Cincinnati. You could come there. And then she checked the libraries there. So she ended up doing 2 in Cincinnati and staying over with me for several days. We had a great time. It was so fun to have her at the farm market because she ended up bringing a big block of ice and she had the tools and stuff that she could do with her presentation. But to be, she was marketing it pretty much herself. But she was on the radio here, she did this talk there, and really did make it fun along the way.
We'll be pushing ourselves later on, after we push ourselves for the horrible process of writing the book, then we'll push ourselves to learn what are ways that we can market this. And I'm going to put out some of our early classes on, get that email account down. How do you create a Facebook page? How do you create a Twitter account? How do you create a blog? So that you can start getting your network here in place this fall. So that next fall when you're marketing, you're not the person that says, I just put a book out, come and buy it. But you're rather the person who's been helping them all along the way, and they see what you say has value to them, and then they're anxious to get your book and tell everybody else about it too. So we'll look at all sorts of creative ways. Post them to our site, send or share it at meetings and whatnot. Any ideas that you come up with, because we'll probably need to pull all the rabbits out of a hat to make this work.
Sure. What, if you're doing e-publishing, then you won't be doing book signings, right?
If you're doing e-publishing exclusively, it will be a challenge to do book signings. But what you could maybe do is print some postcards that have your book cover art on it, and a picture of you, and the back jacket blurb on the back of the postcard with a link of your website listed there, or one of the websites where your book is sold. And you could sign that. Save space there for that.
Or you could do a limited run of the
Trade
published-
paperbacks.
Yeah, or the one where you publish on demand. Do a limited number of those so that you could do a book signing. You could do both.
Yeah.
And then have a physical.
It's purely a matter of how much time you can put in there. There's, from my view, there's no reason not to do a trade paperback as well, because you're only committed to buying that one proof copy. Even if it never sells, your dollar commitment to doing that is never any bigger. And it used to be $5,000 to even think about printing your own, like even with one of those vanity presses, it's all about you. Well, you pay them to make it all about you, but now it's much cheaper if you can do all your own files.